So I am back today, and I'm really, really honoured to have the amazing Danielle Matthews back again. Danielle was on with Beth and myself a couple of weeks ago talking about Asea and redox signalling molecules. And today we are really lucky to be joined by Dr. David Silverman as well. And I know you're a very, very busy man, David, so thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Catherine. Always a pleasure. If people are intrigued and want to know more about this breakthrough, if there's anything I can do to be there, I will be there. So thank you.
Oh, that's brilliant. So I will be putting the other links in the playlist below. But before we get into the nitty gritty of everything, because I've had such good feedback, Danielle, from the last video we had, but a lot of questions. So what I've done is collated a lot of the questions that people have been messaging me with so that we can cover a bit more from a user-friendly point of view today. So give people the information from a user's perspective. But before we get into that, can I ask you both, starting with you, Danielle, just to give us a little introduction into yourself? I know we did last time, but we'll have new people watching today, and then we'll move on to David. I always start with ladies first, David. I hope that's okay.
Perfect. Well, so just a little background on me. My degree's in biology. I went to University of Virginia, studied that. I've always been fascinated by the body. But a couple years after I graduated, I was in a severe car accident, and my life just took a very different turn. I had sustained an injury to my brain, and I found myself on a journey of trying to find out how to heal myself, because doctors told me I wouldn't, and that I had a new normal. And so, Catherine, that's actually how this breakthrough entered my world. And David is a big part of that. He shared it with another doctor, and through a chain of events, it reached an acupuncturist that reached my family. And this turned my world around. And so I wanted to pay it forward. And for the last 6 years, I've been educating other people about it.
That's just such an amazing story. And for anyone wanting to know more, I will put the link to the previous video below, because every time I hear your story and speak to you, and you were just such a genuinely lovely person, Danielle, that this is what got me involved in this, because I'm passionate about helping people help themselves. And everyone I've spoken to in this company has got a personal journey that is why they're so passionate. And you're going to see that come through. Dr. David Silverman, could you introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Sure. And what you just said about Danielle, that she's a genuinely lovely person. And that's the kind of people that get attracted to this. And she is. And what she didn't mention, what she just said, was that when she was in that car accident, it wasn't her fault. Life sometimes can throw things at you. You don't know what's coming. And she was hit by a drunk driver, and it just changed her entire life. And I remember her being very skeptical at the beginning, saying, I'm a biology major. This doesn't make sense. I don't believe it. I'm like, well, it can't hurt you. And eventually she heard an explanation, and she said, okay, I'm going to try it. And it changed her life. I mean, so some things we can't control in life. You can't control a drunk driver hitting you, but you can control your health destiny often if you look deeply enough into things. So my background is foot and ankle surgery. I live half the year in the Washington, D.C. area. I've sold my practice now. I'm 61. I've sold my practice several years ago, but I was board certified in foot surgery. And now I live half the year in Florida. I know you said it's a sunny day there in UK, and I live in Florida all winter. I hate to tell you, it's sunny every day here. But I was introduced to this about 11 years ago. My friend brought it to me, and she's not a doctor. She was an interior decorator. Her name is Debbie. Maybe you'll meet her at some point. She's just another genuinely lovely, amazing person. But she brought this to me and just said, look, this is what it's done for my mom. And I love you, and you need to know about this. And she told me what it had done with her mother's joint problems and breathing problems. And then she showed me what it had done for her skin problems. She had a problem that people get. We don't use medical terms with this because it's not a medicine. It's really a breakthrough. I'm sure we'll talk about it. But bottom line is that was the beginning for me. And it wasn't for me. I was 50 at the time. But my dad had a very grave issue, the type of issue that no one wants to hear they have in any part of their body or a loved one, whether it's their prostate or their lung or their breast. And so I investigated it solely for my father. And saw that it was as safe as water, which is a really important thing. As a doctor, I wrote prescriptions, so I had to, are you allergic to anything to the patient? What else are you taking? Because whatever I write for them could interact, and I had to know the right dosage. With this, it's not a medicine. You can do whatever you want with it. I mean, literally whatever you want, as much as you want. But I got my dad on it and saw some amazing things that I couldn't fully attribute to this product, but because I had him on other natural things as well. I've been in wellness now. I got out of the medical traditional box where it's all about knives and medicines. There are other things that can help the body take care of itself. So I had him on several things. So when he did really well with his grave issue, I didn't know if it was this or something else. So I started referring people to Debbie, saying, here, you try it. I didn't want to get involved in the business side of it because I didn't believe in it yet. But then I saw amazing things happen that couldn't really be a placebo. And then I got involved with sharing it. And so I'm on the medical board of the company now, Asea. It's a volunteer position. There are a lot of doctors, MDs, DOs, DCs, naturopaths, acupuncturists. They're all like me. They were all stunned that this exists and no one knows about it. And that's a volunteer position. And then I'm an educator in this. I just share what I pay forward, what I learned. And that's how you create a ripple effect. You tell people, they tell people, they tell people. Danielle got caught up on that ripple effect. Thank God she got caught up in the ripple effect. But if I hadn't told the doctor who I knew in Washington, D.C., then he couldn't have told the people he told, and it wouldn't have gotten to her. So I'm very passionate about this breakthrough, Catherine, and I'm glad you got caught up in it too. And it's just, it's almost fate. You know, being hit by a drunk driver might be considered fate, and it's almost fate being caught up in this ripple of this gift for humanity.
Yeah, no, that's so important, because the reason I started using the products, and when I have a lot of clients, I work with animals and they're humans on the natural things, like Danielle. I'm a biologist, but I specialized in lots of different complementary therapies, and basically how to help people remove the nasties from their body and those of their loved ones of whatever species, and then make lifestyle changes to stop problems coming back. And what I realized is this was a complete game changer. I mean, I do work with a lot of natural products that I recommend, but there's no point me speaking and giving advice to people and then not having recommendations about what they can use. And one of the things that I'd like to ask you about, which I think is so important for anyone listening, whether they're using it for a two-legged or a four-legged or a winged or a scaled, is can you talk us through about the safety of it? Because there's no possibility of allergic reaction you can take when you're on other medications, etc. So how does that work, Dr. David?
Absolutely. So I just did a presentation. I have a slide that goes through this. I'll do it without the slide, but what's unique about this that makes it so different is that it's something that's inside of us. Our cells make this. It's called redox signaling molecules. And it stands for, redox stands for reductant and oxidant. And there's a great book for people that want the science. There are textbooks on this. And there, you see the term redox. That term redox stands for reductant and oxidant. And people recognize the term oxidant from antioxidant, but antioxidant is like a little tiny piece of it. It's like it's a fragment of the big picture, which is redox, right? And here's a book that I think everybody should get. It's called Redox. Anybody that's interested in the science, Redox Matters: Connecting the Dots Between Redox Biology and Health by Dr. Lee Osler. If you go to redoxmatters.com, you can get that book, and you can also watch the videos. If you want deep science, because I won't go deep into the science here. People say, I want deep science. I want to know. Dr. Dick Walker, if you click videos and click Dr. Dick Walker, he's an emergency room physician and internist. He goes into deep science. And then there are other ones there that are a little simpler explanations. But bottom line is this, the Reader's Digest version of this, the simple version is that our cells make this, but we made more when we were younger. And at puberty, our mitochondria start going downhill. So at puberty, we start producing less and less and less as we get older. So I am 61 years old. When I was a kid, my mitochondria were producing a lot of it. Redox signaling molecules, less in my 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. I'm 61. My cells are making this much, right? Well, we'll explain what it does and why it's so safe. But bottom line is, this is exactly what my cells are making. It's like a biohack. I am raising my levels back up to what they were when I was younger. And my body functions the way it did when I was younger. I mean, I'm 61 years old. I take no medications. I used to take ibuprofen when I would golf once a week. I golf every day. I don't take anything. I feel phenomenal. And before I started drinking this, I wore glasses for distance. Every year and a half, I changed my prescription would change. It has not changed at all in 10 years. It's the exact same prescription I had 10 years ago. Because we all see things happen to us as we get older, right? We see our parents deteriorate, our grandparents deteriorate. You don't have a lot of health issues when you're young. You don't have a lot of severe grave issues when you're young. Every decade of life, you see people get sicker. I mean, they don't bounce back from injuries as quickly. Even a 20-year-old won't bounce back from an injury as quickly as a 10-year-old. And a 40-year-old, the same injury falling off a bicycle that they did at 10 years old or 20, at 40, they're not going to heal as quickly. They might be in physical therapy for a year. They fall off their bike when they're 80, the same accident, there's a good chance they're going to die. Our bodies don't bounce back. And one of the things that children have more of in young people is this, and redox signaling molecules. And what they do is they enhance communication. They make it so that the cells can hear each other when they're talking. And it's very important for the body to know what's going on. You fall off your bicycle, you break your arm and cut yourself and bang your head, you've damaged cells in the body. The whole body's made up of cells, healthy cells. And all of a sudden, an injury, boom, they're not healthy. Well, if they're not replaced with good ones, then you're gonna have a real problem, right? Yeah. You're gonna live, but we heal. You see cuts, bones heal, they heal faster when we're younger. And what this product does is it amplifies signaling in the body so that the immune system can hear that all of a sudden you had trauma, or all of a sudden you've got cells that are dying, which need to be replaced. It's not all of a sudden that happens. We're made up of 70 to 100 trillion cells. We have millions of cells dying all the time. How does our immune system know to go in and get rid of the bad cell and replace it with a good one? Because the bad cell that's dying, the bad cell that's mutating, that better be stopped, or the bad cell that's been damaged by trauma, it's not calling for help. The other cells that are around it sense there's a problem. They detect it. Technically, we're detecting it, it's our cells, but consciously we don't know. But our cells detect it, call for help to the immune system. Immune system comes down, kills the cell, dissolves it, it gets carried away in the lymph system, then the good cell basically replicates itself, and you're healthy. But it happens faster in children. What redox molecules do is they amplify the signal. Children have a lot. So the signal is help, help, we got a bad cell, right? Well, when you're 50, help, 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 bad cell. Maybe the immune system doesn't hear it as well, so bad cells remain. And then when you're 80, help, help, help. Mm-hmm. So when you drink this, it doesn't cure you, it doesn't heal you. It's amplifying signal in the body so the body can function the way it functioned when we're younger. It's made from saline. People say, well, why is it made? Why does the ingredients say salt and water? And people say online, oh, it's just salt and water.
Oh, I've had that so much. So I was going to ask you.
You get that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, common sense will tell you it's not salt water. How? Number one, company's been around for about 12 years. They've grown revenue every year. They've done over $1 billion in sales. How can you fool people with salt water for 12 years? Number one. Number two, try spraying salt water in your eye, right? You can put this liquid in a little nebulizer, right? And you can breathe it in, you can put it in your eye and it doesn't burn your eyes, right? So that's another thing. The simplest way to know it's not salt water is to find a few people who have something that hurts them. Yeah. Like their neck, their back, their knee. Shake up the gel version of this, which is marketed for wrinkles or rejuvenate skin cells. You look younger when you use it, but you find 10 people who are hurting. There it is. You love it, right?
I love it. I'm going to talk about my experience with that in a minute. Yeah.
But you find 10 people who are hurting and say, give me 10 minutes. They're like, okay, well, my neck hurts. I'll give you 10 minutes. My knee hurts. I'll give you 10 minutes. They rate their discomfort on a scale of 1 to 10. They shake up the gel. They put it on the area. Put it on 3 times in 5 minutes. So they put it on, it dries, they put it on, it dries, put it on, it dries. It takes a minute and a half, you're done. And in 10 minutes, ask them how they feel. Watch what happens to 9 of the 10 people. And there's a money back guarantee on the product, so it's so easy. But the reason it's made from salt water is because that's what our cells make it from.
Yeah.
Our cells are filled with saline. When you go to the hospital, you get saline. When you cry, your tears are salty, your sweat's salty. We don't think about it, but we're filled with saline, and your body makes these molecules from what salt and water is made from, which is sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen, right? So sodium, chloride, and water, but not in the form of sodium chloride and water anymore. It's in the form of reductants and oxidants. So that's why it's made from saline. And that's why it's so safe. You can't be allergic to it. It's in animals, it's in us. No one can be allergic to this.
Yeah.
Nobody on this planet can be allergic to it. It does not interfere with any medications. People are taking medicines and they say, well, I want to see if this helps my mood. I want to see if it helps my sleep. I want to see if it helps my cholesterol. We can't claim it's going to help anything because it's not a medicine. But we can say is keep taking your medicines. Just baseline, where are you today with all the stuff you're doing, your medicines, your herbs, your acupuncture, keep doing it. Just add this and see what happens. And so it doesn't interfere with anything. And lastly, it's not toxic because drugs, pharmaceuticals are metabolized by your liver, right? Or your kidney, and you need to get rid of it. So you take a certain amount, your liver's metabolizing it. It's good. If you double the dose of your medicine, you got problems because your liver can't keep up. Now the toxicity starts to rise. Maybe you got liver problems. Maybe you have ringing in your ear. Maybe your blood pressure goes through the roof. All these things that can happen. If you take 10 times the prescribed dose, it's probably going to kill you. Every medicine will kill you. This is not a medicine. If you take too much of it, your body turns the excess back into what it was, which was saline, which is what our cells are filled with. That's why it's so safe.
Fantastic. And I think that's really, really important for people that are using it with their animals as well, because obviously exactly the same applies to them. And so you can only do good with this. That's what I really love. And it is really important because trust me, I've been working with people long enough, and however many times you give people sensible instructions, there's always someone that's going to do something really off the scale with something. So for me, it's real peace of mind because it is so safe. And either David or Danielle, it's a 3.5 day production process for this to be made, isn't it? So it's, as you say, for those of you, there's lots of videos out there that can explain the full production process, but it's not just like adding salt to your water. I hope that's clear now. Now, one of the things that I was a bit confused about, and I've had quite a lot of questions about, is the best way for people to take it. So let's talk about people first. What's the swirling around the mouth business and how does that help?
I'll take that one. So interestingly, they found that it gets absorbed. So like through the water channel sublingually in the mouth, it gets absorbed in and starts going to work straight away. And so they found that if you hold it in your mouth for at least 30 seconds, that's what they found is the best. Anywhere between 30 and 60 is pretty good. Swish it and then swallow it. And it gets to work very quickly. With the gel, you just rub it on. The other thing to think about too, Catherine, when people start using this is that's key, the drinking it, swirling in the mouth, swallowing it, but also hydrating yourself. So this works really well when you're well hydrated. And I know you're over in the UK, you use different, but I know here in the US with our standard of measurement, so might have to convert this for some. But if you were to take your body weight in pounds and cut it in half, that amount of ounces, so a 200-pound person to drink 100 ounces of water a day to keep themselves well hydrated. Because one of the things, as Dr. Silverman was saying, when cells die off and they go into your lymph system and need to be flushed out, water helps that happen. And so if you're well hydrated, your body can really flush out these cells that are, dying off, as well as toxicity. So your glutathione boosts when you drink this, and that helps the body detoxify. It's a master antioxidant in our system. And so we've got to get those toxins out. So the better hydrated you are, the better this is going to work with you to bring your optimum health back. And the other thing is it can't be in UV light. So that's one thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. Like, don't put it on your windowsill, either the gel or the liquid, because UV light is the one thing that causes the molecules to react. And anything organic that it touches, these molecules kind of go to work. And so that's why we say put it in your mouth, swish it around, get it introduced to your own body, but you don't want to put it in like a metal cup or anything like that. There's a little plastic, looks like a shot glass, honestly, that it comes with. There you go. David's got one. So that's
demonstrated. What a good assistant you are today, David.
Good Vanna White.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to use.
Yeah.
A lot of people do one of those cups in the morning, one at night. We call it the magic 8 ounces a day, doing 2 cups in the morning, 2 at night. That's what I drink. That's what I found the most benefit with my body. I think that David, that's what he drinks as well. But, you know, it's kind of like David taught me this. He said, it's kind of like finding your sleep number on a sleep number bed. You can just adjust, go up, go down. You're not feeling what you want, then double up for a few days. You can play with it because there's no toxic amount. I think of it like you're just putting more construction workers onto the job site. Like there's no downside to that, right? Your job's just going to get done faster, but sometimes it's a big job. So we got to be patient.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. So really important for people that are using with animals and things, just be very careful. So for animals, we want it in either a plastic bowl. Can they use glass or not?
Yeah, that's fine.
Plastic or glass. Yeah. Okay.
You just
great.
don't want to use metal. So
No.
one of the things with this product is that it was saline. Now it's reductants and oxidants. You got positive and negative ions in here, which was thought to be impossible. The stabilization process, and Danielle, maybe you can give, or Catherine, where people can see the 5-minute tour of the production facility with the COO going through how they do this. But they're stable. And it was thought to be impossible to do this. This is the miracle of this product, that they stabilized it. But there's things that can expedite it turning back into saline. It's very slowly turning back into saline. I mean, the shelf life is about 2 years, but there are a couple of things that will expedite it. One is direct sunlight. The other is metal. If it comes in contact with metal, the molecules start disassociating and they turn back into salt water. And also anything carbon-based. So that's why it works best on an empty stomach, but you don't have to, as long as you hold it in your mouth, you're good. But, you know, and it's one of the reasons you do not drink it out of the bottle.
Yeah.
Because if you drink out of the bottle, your saliva is carbon-based, it's organic. And then you cap it, and it's not like it makes this bad to take, but it expedites turning back into saline. So the next time you go to do it, it's like it's not as potent as it was before. So you open it up, you pour it in the glass, in the cup, you put it in your mouth. I hold it for 60 seconds and swallow it, 30 to 60 seconds, whatever. But it is very stable. So metal, you do not, and a lot of people have metal dishes for their dogs and cats. Yeah. Don't put it in metal.
And also it's really important, isn't it, not to mix it with anything. So not to add it to a juice, not to add it to any extra water or anything is very, very important. Just take
the only thing you could mix it with would be distilled water, because it won't interact with that. It's made with deionized water, which is purer than distilled water, but pure water won't make it turn back into saline. But if you put it in orange juice or milk or something, it will. And it doesn't make it dangerous, just makes it less potent. If you're going to buy it, you want it to work, right?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm loving this. So the next question on my list that I've had from a lot of people is, how does it work to detox the body? Which we've already touched on a bit, but what might people expect when they start taking it? I know everyone's experience is going to be very different, but some typical examples, because some people won't notice anything initially, and some people might notice some more obvious effects.
Danielle, you want to take that or me?
I can talk to it, and then you can fill in anything I don't. So I would say, you know, maybe 10% of people notice a detox response. All of us are, but if you're well hydrated, again, it's flushing through you, you might not feel it. But some typical things, think about any way that your body would want to expel something. So I've had people that get really bad, you know, body odor, or they're sweating more. I've had people get a rash. I've had people have diarrhea. I've had people feel maybe foggy headed for a little while. And it's because your body is releasing, I call it a healing crisis, right? It's like it's releasing things that shouldn't be in there. So it can get to the other side and you feel much better. It typically lasts maybe a couple of days. And, you know, you kind of have the option of either to back down on the redox, because, you know, the Asea is stimulating that response in the body. Or I have a lot of people that say, no, this is a good thing. I just want to power through. And sometimes they'll even take more to get through it. But you kind of just watch your own body. You need to function in the world. So, you know, do it at a pace that makes sense for you. And don't be nervous by it. I would actually be very excited for people that have a response that quickly. I'm like, oh my gosh, like you needed this, you know, thank goodness it's in your system and we're getting rid of this. And I can't wait to see what happens on the other side. But typically it's just more water. or just the amount of redox. Maybe take half the next day and see how you do with that. Do that for a couple of days and then, play around with it. David, anything?
I'll tell you the reason I wanted Danielle to answer that is because this is not rocket science. I mean, you don't have to be a doctor to do this. I mean, anybody can share this with people because you can't hurt yourself. The only negative thing that can happen is a positive thing, detox. And if you read about what redox molecules do is they also raise your levels of glutathione, and glutathione is our body's master antioxidant. SOD and catalase too. And these are, anybody that knows what glutathione is, you show them that a product raises glutathione and they're like, I want it, because people understand it, right? The people that understand it know what this does. One of the things glutathione does is it detoxifies the body. So less than 10% of people will feel these things that Danielle is. It's happening to everybody. And my blood pressure went up a little bit. I don't have blood pressure problems, but when it happened at the beginning, I knew what was going on because it was the glutathione increase and getting rid of all these, the dead cells and the turnover. But I just drank more water. I didn't decrease the amount I was drinking. I was drinking 4 ounces a day. I drink 8 ounces a day now every day. When I get on a plane and I travel, I'm going next week. I'm going to New Jersey on this Friday, and then I come back and we're going to Mexico, and then I'm going out to the headquarters. I'm going on planes. I'm going to drink a bottle a day. I mean, 32 ounces a day. It can't hurt me in any way. But at the beginning, as Danielle said, is less than 10% of people will feel the detox happening. Just drink a lot more water. And if it's not taking care of it and you're not getting past it, just temporarily decrease the amount of Asea that you're drinking. And then once that passes and you're getting the other side, start bumping it up again. And most people drink between 4 and 8 ounces a day, which is 120 to 240 ml a day.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Now, for those people that aren't noticing anything obvious, we're going to get all different ranges of people. Some people are going to be taking it for a preventative reason and because they're getting older. And some people will be taking it because they have a particular health challenge that they want to support naturally. So what about those people that aren't noticing something obvious straight away? Because a lot of people give up too soon, don't they? Because with things like this.
Yeah. So let me share this with you. First of all, people have to have belief that it's doing something, right? To continue on something, we can't say it cures, treats, or prevents anything. We can't, because those are medical terms. But I'll say, would you like to protect your health? That's a different word, right? But people want to see something. If they're spending money on something, and there's a way to get the product for free. You'll probably talk about that later, where if someone says, I want this, but I want to get it, I can't afford it. It's not expensive, but if you don't have enough money, then it's expensive, right? Yeah. But there's a way to get it for free, but the having results is important. And that's where the gel comes in. Like I said, if someone isn't seeing, I'll show you in a second how to validate this for yourself, the liquid. But if someone wants to validate Redox, because this is the gel version of this, go put it on 10 people that are hurting. Like I said, you want to see, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because put it on 10 that are hurting, put it on 3 times in 5 minutes, watch what happens to 9 of those people. And you realize, and these could be all negative people that say, I don't believe a word you're saying. I read this was salt water, but my neck hurts. I'll try it. I'll do 10 minutes. Watch what happens to 9 out of 10 people. And you realize 3 things. It isn't salt water. It works. 2, it's very easy to prove to anybody who wants to know that it's real. It's easy to dismiss it and not test it on people, right? They walk away. It's like, hey, you missed the whole thing. Sorry. I don't cry about it. I feel bad for them and the people they love because they don't know. But when you put it on 10 people that are hurting, it's not salt water. It's easy to prove it's not salt water. And you're like, my God, the whole world's going to know about this. This is so easy. It's just a matter of time. So do that. But as far as the drink goes, if people aren't seeing changes with the drink, let me share something with you real quick. In fact, I always give credit. This is taken just before COVID. This is Debbie. This is our friend who is 71 or 72 now. Everybody looks younger than they did years ago with this, but she brought it to me and Wendy, and all of these people were skeptical people. Some a little less skeptical than others, but we were all stunned by what this product does. But here's how to get results. So, you baseline everything in your health before you start at day 0 or day 1. Let's say your major problem is you don't sleep well. Well, what's your sleeping like? Don't change anything. Keep doing what you're doing. Start taking the product, right? Do you have focusing problems? Do you have mood problems? Do you have neurological problems? Do you have digestive problems? Do you have eye problems? Do you have hearing problems? Do you have ringing in your ear? Do you have breathing problems? Do you sneeze when you're around a dog? Are you overweight? What's your weight? Do you have a blood sugar issue? Well, what's your blood sugar in the morning? Do you have a pressure issue? Do you have a sex drive issue? Do you have discomfort in your body? Well, with the gel, it's kind of easy. Do you have stress? Athletic performance goes through the roof. We have Olympic gold medalists on this product. There's no banned substances. It's made from salt and water, but you baseline everything. There's some guides on how to use it, how to use redox.com and redoxguide.com, but it's basically what I'm saying right now, which is basically you've got your baseline. What are expectations? By day 7, about 15% of people are very happy. 15% are like, oh my goodness. By day 30, 60% of people are happy. But by day 90, 90% of people are happy. So the goal is to go 90 days and see some type of change happen here, right? Now, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee on the product. I can't get everybody to say wow with the drink. I can get 60% of people to say wow with the drink. But if they use the gel on people who are hurting, they know and they stick to it. If somebody follows these instructions and they get to day 90, and 10% of people are like, you know what, I don't really see anything, 10%. What do I have them do? Well, for 4 days, I have them drink a half a bottle a day. That's 16 ounces a day. And after that, if they don't see a change, I have them just stop. I just say, stop, just stop taking it. And not just stop, but go back and fill out one of these sheets again. Now, day 0 is day 1 is the day that you're stopping Asea and reassess everything. If you think you didn't see any changes in 90 days following those instructions, what I'm telling you is most people have, but they weren't paying close enough attention. Absolutely. So they reassess and then they just stop and they see how they're doing at 7 days, 30 days, 90 days. Usually by day 30, they're ordering the product again. They're realizing things came back that they didn't notice before and they're back on the product. So that's what I recommend if people haven't seen anything happen by day 90.
That is a brilliant demonstration. And I'm blown away by how you managed to do that. Make the marks on the screen. How did that happen? You've got something magic happening with your computer. Never seen that before. I'm showing what a dinosaur I am. I'm grinning because, you know, I've been completely blown away. My experience is I absolutely adore the gel. I'm 54 now and I'm finding it's really helping my face, which is really nice. I like that. But also it's really helping the healing. And I was saying to Danielle, I actually like spraying the liquid on my face as well. It's absolutely brilliant. And it's brilliant to spray the liquid on the, oh yes, I've just remembered, that's so good. And for animals as well, it's brilliant for the liquid because you can use it safely around the eyes, around the ears, obviously in the mouth, anywhere. And it's obviously completely safe for them to lick on. And if you've got a very furry animal, sometimes using the spray can be easier than using the gel, getting through the thick fur. But I've just been blown away by the results in general and how it's feeling. So even now, this is good testament. Even now, my husband has asked to start taking it because he's noticing differences in me. So that's a good sign. So I'm going to use him as a guinea pig and I'll let you know what we're noticing with him after a month.
Well, I would never have thought you're 54. I mean, I'm looking at you and Danielle. You all look like your sisters. You're 54 and Danielle, what, you're 32?
33.
33. Amazing.
Oh, thank you. You're my new best friend now then. So, but no, seriously, people, you know, we're sharing this because it really works. Now, I'm very conscious of your time, Dr. David, because I know you've got another meeting to go on to. So what other questions have I got on here? Because I wrote down all the questions my customers had come into. Yeah, so one, we've covered the fact that it's completely safe for performance athletes because you're not adding anything chemical in your body, you're just increasing what was already there. You mentioned the nebulizing. I had some questions from people about the nebulizing. So are there any sort of tips for that?
Well, again, we're not making any medical claims about this. All I'm saying is it's very safe. Okay, so we can't say it helps anything, can't say it helps respiratory problems or eye problems. It's what we can't, because it's not a medicine, pharmaceutical. but you put the liquid, get what's called a mesh nebulizer, MESH. And the reason is nebulizers often commonly have a lot of metal in them, and the liquid will pass through metal. And when it, again, if it passes through, touches metal, it kind of deactivates it. It turns it back into saline. So mesh nebulizers have some metal, but not as much. And you just fill it up, and you can see the mist coming out of here, and you can breathe it in. It's just, let's just say this, it's very relaxing to breathe it in. You can put it in your eyes. You can do anything you want with it. It's just so safe, but getting a mesh nebulizer is pretty key. One of the questions people have is, hey, it's made from salt and water. Can I take it if I have high blood pressure? And if someone says, my doctor says, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I'm like, did the doctor read the label? Did you take a picture of the label and send it to your doctor? Because if you read the label, it says there's 125 milligrams of sodium in a daily amount. We don't say dose, because dosage would infer it's a drug. We just say serving size, right? 125 milligrams in a daily amount. To give you some context, a slice of bread has more sodium. A glass of milk has about the same amount of sodium. There's very little sodium. So that's one of the common questions we get. Yes, it's safe to use.
Absolutely amazing. So I know you've got to head off in a minute, and Danielle and I are just going to cover some questions for people about ordering process and everything, because we've had lots of questions about that. But Dr. David, how can people find your work? Because you've got your own YouTube channel, haven't you? And for customers, you have a Zoom call.
Yeah, well, I have, Danielle can give you some of the details on that, but I put a site together that it's a link tree, and it's called gettingyoungerclub.com. There's no contact information for that from me. That's to help people who are sharing this with the people they know, that they can share it, right? And they're not contacting me. But there's a short video, 7 minutes, what are redox molecules? There's a short video I did, how do they work in the body? There's a short video that says, oh, isn't it just salt water? Instead of trying to convince people, just play the video. It's all there. It's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Why is it marketed through word of mouth marketing? Why isn't it marketed through drug representatives and advertising? There's a video there called The Genesis of Asea. And this company turned down a huge offer from a pharmaceutical company that wanted to buy it, and the patents, yes, it's patented, and there's IP. They didn't patent everything because patents run out. This is not reverse engineerable. So for people who end up looking at this as an opportunity side of this, know that we own it. We own this whole thing, which is remarkable, but it's run by people with integrity. They could have easily just taken a ridiculous amount of money from the pharmaceutical company and walked away. Pharmaceutical company would have surely buried it. They don't want things on the market that help the body kind of take care of itself, right? They just don't want that. By the way, the company's had many offers since, and they will not let go of this. They treat this like a newborn infant. Who's going to let go of their infant? If they were to sell it, say they were to sell it for $200 million, $500 million to a pharmaceutical company or somebody else that says, no, we're going to bring it to market. We're not going to bury it. Right. But what happens if they buy it for $300 million and then a pharmaceutical company says, we'll give you $1 billion for it? They're not in control. The people that own this company, they make the decisions. They're in control. They are not letting this out of their hands. It's being brought to the world by people like you, like Danielle, like me. But gettingyoungerclub.com is just a really good site. And when you go there, there's a thing that says, what about my issue? In fact, let me just share my screen. I'll just show you what it looks like. Because I wanted something that was very, very simple, right? A very simple site. So this is what it looks like. And these are all, those are the links I was saying, the first video I'd have everybody watch. It's 6 minutes long. But what are redox molecules? How do they work? Immediate proof. Is it just salt water? There's the Genesis video to watch. They didn't sell the pharmaceutical company. Here's a 5-minute tour of the production facility. If you want to get your product for free, watch this 5-minute video. It'll show you how you can get all your product for free by paying it forward. But if you click, what about my issue? And you go there, there's a password. The password is Redox, R-E-D-O-X, lowercase. These are all video stories of people. They're short, 5 to 10 minutes. In fact, the very first story is Danielle. Right? But they're all different issues. And what you do is when you go here, watch this little video first, and then come over to these bubbles and pick what's important to you. You have a child on the spectrum. You were bitten by a tick. You want to lose weight. You don't sleep well. You got a blood sugar issue. You know, somebody's losing their memory. So I'll click memory. Watch what happens when I click memory. It sorts through the 100 and some stories and pulls up the 6 that are memory.
Wow, that's brilliant.
There's animals. I click animals, right? And there are some sites dedicated strictly to animals, and Danielle can give you that. But this is a wonderful thing because people care, Catherine, people care about, they care about other people, but they really care about themselves and the people they love. I wonder if I can help my dad, he's losing his memory. I wonder if I can help my son, he's got this skin issue. And so that's a brilliant site for people. So Danielle can give you more information, but I just want to thank you for having me on here, and thanks for paying it forward, Catherine. I mean, the ripple effect, it's amazing.
Yeah, so for everyone, Dr. David's got to leave us now, but Danielle and I will carry on for a bit. And obviously all the links, you know how they're in the box below the video. So thank you so much, David. And I'm sure we'll be speaking again. Thanks,
Catherine. You all have a great day. Bye, Danielle.
Bye, David.
So now back to us. Yeah, it's great information, and you can see how enthusiastic we are all about it. We just had a few tips for people, or you did, because I've been learning so much from Danielle over the last few weeks about the ordering side of things. A few tips we've got about people to order so that you can get it in the most cost-effective way possible. What can you tell people about that, Danielle?
First of all, I would say reach out and consult. So you can reach out direct to Catherine, or I believe there's going to be a phone number to Jay, who's a colleague of ours, to be able to help understand, look, with your situation, what do you need? How much do you need? What would make the most sense? And we can kind of help you navigate the most cost-effective way to get what you need. And also, you know, how much gel, how much liquid, that kind of conversation. So I'd say reach out, have a conversation. That's the easiest way, because we want to make this personal to you. But to give you kind of a broad overview, if you've already like, you know what, I don't want to wait, I want this stuff, and you've gone over to the site, you know, there's a way to buy it retail, but quite frankly, I don't want people to have to pay a retail price. So you can get it at a wholesale pricing by signing up as a preferred customer. And what's interesting about that option is there's no cost to it. You just sign up to get a monthly subscription. And as Dr. Silverman explained, most people are giving this 90 days. You know, guys, I didn't talk about my story today, but 2 months into this, I hadn't felt a thing. I thought it was still just, you know, not real. And thank goodness I stayed on. My parents had asked me to give it a 6-month trial, but it was within the 90 days. It was after about 3 months that the flip, like I switched to flip, and all of a sudden I could focus again. The pounding in my head left. And if I had stopped at 2 months, I don't know where I'd be.
Yeah.
So it's working, you know, and it's just that cellular repair is not always felt. Like, who feels when they're low on vitamin D? I mean, there's just stuff that goes on in our system on a level that we're not consciously aware of. And so I always tell people, look, give it enough time and get the liquid and the gel. Try the gel so you can stay patient as you go, wow, that just did something. So let me see what the liquid will do for my body, because the liquid's going to work where it deems necessary first. And a lot of times we're impatient with a particular problem that we're aware of. We're saying, oh my gosh, it's my shoulder. You know, I want this to work on that. Unbeknownst to us, there might be something going on in your digestive system. And so this works there first. And so I always tell people, look, be patient, baseline where your body's at, then keep checking in, because something's going to change. Like, my nails grow thicker, longer, like faster. So does my hair. And so it's just one of those things that's an indicator to me that my health is pretty good. But 90 days is a good thing. And so if you're going to do that, set it up to be on a subscription. So you get the cheaper pricing and you get loyalty points that you can then use to redeem for free product. It's kind of like the points are like dollars, and you can get product. The other option is to align with the company. If you feel like, you know what, there's other people I know and love that would, you know, deserve to know about this at the very least and might be interested in getting it, you can sign up as a representative. And, you know, when you do that, you can get different packages, different bundles is what I call it. You know, the more you buy, the more you save type of thing. Again, we can help you navigate through that decision if it makes sense for you. But you get the same wholesale pricing that a preferred customer gets, and you get the ability to share it. And when you share it, the company does no traditional advertising. So they take the money and they say, thank you for sharing. And they give you, I call it a little thank you check. And it's a really nice thing to do. So we can talk about that option. It doesn't make sense for everybody, but it makes sense for some.
Yeah, and I just really want to encourage people, because I've had a lot of people that have signed up as retail and then sort of said, oh, you didn't tell me about the preferred customer or the associate. So it's impossible to cover everyone's needs in one video. So what we say is, we have got a good team here to support you. There's Danielle, there's one of Danielle's colleagues, Juliet, who's helping me out as well with inquiries. There's Jay from Spiritually Raw and his assistant Rob, who are. So one of us will be here to reach out and help you not only get the most cost-effective solution for you, and also to support you on your journey. And like, there's really as much or as little support as you want, but please do ask. So the contact details will be below, and we will get in contact with you, one of the team, to support you and help you, because it's so important that you get the best experience for you, that fits your budget, that fits your individual needs. Because I have had a lot of questions like that, and it's really difficult if people don't ask for help. I don't know that they want help. So we're not invasive at all, but we genuinely are here to help and get you the best experience. So thank you so much, Danielle. I mean, I have been blown away by not only the products, but also the people in the company. And it's the people that are that make everything, because everyone has got their own genuine story to share, and everyone's so helpful as well.
Catherine, it's amazing, because I think it started when Dr. Silverman said they said no to this pharmaceutical buyout. This was born from a space of high integrity with heart and people in mind. And so I think when you have that, you're resonating on a certain level, you attract a certain person that also resonates with that same feeling. And so, yeah, everybody here is from the heart, people-centered, wanting to help and serve. And even when people get their product, we like to be involved, make sure you're taking it properly. There's a great Q&A call with Dr. Silverman on Saturdays, that health tracker that he showed, all of that, when you get your product, we will give you and get you plugged into, so you can, be supported as you start this journey. And it usually leads to more questions, quite frankly, because this is a breakthrough. I mean, it's not like nutrition, it's not a CBD, it's not these things we're used to hearing about for our health. So I always encourage people, learn, knowledge is power. Keep getting yourself educated, and you could, watch Asea videos for the next year if you wanted to. There's so much out there.
I think that's the thing. There's something for everyone in whatever their area of interest is. So thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Anyone who's watching this, if you want to know more, the contact details will be below and the links below. Please do reach out to one of the people mentioned from the links below if you've got any questions, which will be me. But sometimes I can't deal with all the inquiries personally, so other people are helping me out, which I'm very, very grateful for. But we will get back to you. And I just say, I'm just so grateful. Please do try it if it resonates with you. And if it doesn't, that's absolutely fine as well. Go with what you feel that you need. And we will be back to share more information soon. Have a wonderful day, Danielle. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Catherine.
Bye.